So we are hitting a decade of being an expat. And I've really been able to sit down this past few months in reflecting on what life has been for me and how I've went from who I used to be, being a crazy alcoholic party guy all over Southeast Asia, to turn into something that I'm proud of, that my family, my mother can be proud of. So today I want to talk about my experience moving up, but I also want to give you guys a roadmap of sorts that shows you the different life stages and what you should probably expect and have a mindset of what you can actually do when you're out here. So if you are in your 20s, you're going to have a lot of time to experiment, to fail, to make mistakes and kind of roll back on them because you don't have too much family relying on you. You're probably not losing your life savings for a retirement pension. You have that flexibility. And this allows you to have a low risk on big moves and just overall reset if it doesn't work. But when you get into your 30s, things change a little. You start turning into that reinventing, that midlife crisis almost. Or you're even a late bloomer where you're starting to pick up your life and move forward at an older age. And you're starting to build that foundation for your future. This is one of the most common age groups that I meet out here in Asia. And this is where I fell into as well, coming out here kind of reinventing myself, a new chapter of my life. And finally, when you hit your 40s and you come out here, this is where you guys are going to get that report card of life. All that hard work, that learning, that focus, or that laziness is finally coming in to cash that check. This is when you're focused on family, retirement, pensions, and you're making serious decisions that can impact your life. And you can't always mess up like you could in your 20s. I found my life has always been in some kind of a delay. So if it wasn't my university where I had to keep moving to different areas, my high school was same, I was always learning on the side. I was always doing something. So even though I had these education gaps, I was still always learning. This is something that I love that I did because this got me into a lot of stuff that I wasn't aware of. Got me into real estate, got me into psychology, got me into business ideas. And the delays of my life still didn't stop. When I started getting into real estate, things were going big. This was a good time in America to buy real estate, flip it, or even just be an investor. But I joined the military and then 9/11 happened. So I wasn't able to stay at shore and work on my business. I had to go out to sea for 2 or 3 tours each. Fortunately for me, the military offered a Texas University degree, so I could still further my education while I was abroad. So I was learning more psychology. I was learning more about the business I was already involved in. So when I came back, I could do it. And best of all, I was able to save that money. So it's always important to know that even though your education might seem useless at times, you always want to fill those gaps and you always want to prepare for what's going to happen because you just never know. And finally, we come to what we're talking about today, that transition from all that real estate, those engineer degrees, those business moves I made, all those ideas put aside, that chapter closed, and I opened a new chapter moving abroad to here, Vietnam, where I started a new life.
Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to another video. And most of all, welcome back to Vietnam.
But I came here with a lot of knowledge, a lot of understanding, and I had that money to back it. So coming out here and doing all this traveling and working and doing all this teaching, these business ideas, starting some companies, helping other expats, I've ran into a lot of key issues and lessons that I've learned along the way that I want to share with you today. The first one is just relationships and family. It's very basic. This is a regret of mine to an extent where I didn't keep that connection when I moved abroad. I did distance myself, but by nature, that's kind of how my family's always been. Also, this put me in a position where I wasn't seeking relationships at the same time. So it's not so much of a lonely path that I took. So this is something that should be addressed. You shouldn't ignore it. If you want to find a relationship, find it and start looking for it, or at least get ready for when you're going to look for it. I meet a lot of people younger than me, way younger than me, that are trying to get married, but they don't have their ideas, their business, their money straight. Make sure you have everything straight before you start pursuing it, but definitely don't ignore it. The next big one, and this was almost the biggest life change I had abroad, was my health and my fitness. When I first came out to Vietnam, I was an alcoholic. I have nothing to hide about that.
Yo, yo.
I drank between 15 to 25 beers a day, every day. Meanwhile, I was working. I was trying to start a company and I was trying to maintain my sanity, which included a long-term relationship. And it also included just trying to keep connected with my friends around me. So when I did finally grow up, which is something we all do in Asia, we finally get to a point where we realize the party and the drugs, the smoking, the drinking, the karaoke, all this stuff finally does take a toll on us. We start realizing that this is a redundant, useless path that we're taking. As an expat, I talk about this a lot, where a lot of these countries do kind of hurt you in the long run because you start realizing that your friends, be it Vietnamese, Thai, whatever it is, they're still living that life in their 40s and 50s where they just want to get drunk, smoke, and kind of chill out, where you're trying to figure out the seriousness of your life. And with my health, quitting drinking, quitting smoking, eating more healthy, removing processed foods, breads, noodles, stuff like that, and every day doing some jump roping, doing some push-ups. It's all been a massive benefit. So when you are out here, one of the biggest things I can tell you, even if you're drinking like I was, and I'm not going to tell you to quit drinking, do your own decisions, but make sure you're maintaining your health and fitness and your dieting. What are you eating? If you are going to go out and drink and be crazy and eat bad food, fine. Make sure outside of that window of time, you're trying to at least balance it to an extent. Because there is going to be a day, one day, where you realize where all that stuff is just no bueno. The next one is finances. Finances is a very big problem in Southeast Asia. You saw during the pandemic, we had homeless people that were foreigners out here that were begging Vietnamese people, which are already poor, for money. When you come out here, you need to have a plan. You can have a savings account, an ROI, some kind of a crypto account, anything like that going on. You need to have this, a plan. You can't live out here check to check, living on the other side of the world, hoping that next visa run that you do will be approved. This is not the life to live. So make sure you have a financial plan. Make sure you always have money laying around. I've always talked about health insurance and stuff like this on the best way to have it, and that's having $5,000 laying around as a rainy day fund in case something serious happens. Do not be out here as an English teacher or anything living check to check. This will be your biggest regret, I promise you. And when it comes to how to do this, pay off your debts before you come out here, or at least get them in check and start consolidating. Also, make sure your investments are diverse. Don't just invest everything into a 401k or put everything into Tesla or everything into Bitcoin. Make sure you diverse that so your money's always kind of stacking, and when some of it goes down, the other's going up. And don't invest what you can't afford to invest. The next one is dealing with your goals. I've always talked about having a 3-year goal. 5 years and 10-year goals, I don't find very effective nor important. You should have a 3-year goal. If you're in my members group, you've seen the videos I've talked about having a 3-year goal. I'm going to put up a little spreadsheet of that template that I teach out here. I meet a lot of expats that I teach how to use this form. You don't fill it out like you think you do. There's actually a very interesting process to this, but you have to have a goal regardless. If I never meet you in real life to help you on this or talk to you about this, or if you never join the members group, that's perfectly fine. I'm sad, but I understand. But do take from this, if anything, have a 3-year plan. What you're going to do this year and next year, that will lead you to year 3. You need to have this. And every 2 years, 3 years, update this plan and stay on path. Coming out here thinking you're going to be a teacher or get married and just wing it is the dumbest thing you can do. Don't do that. Now, when it comes to money, that's one thing. But when it comes to emotions, you need to find meaning. When people come out here, they come out here for the fun, the entertainment, and the party life, the nightlife. Coming out here long term means you're going to probably want to start a family. You're going to want to start a business, or you're going to want to find some spot to just kind of relax and be part of the community. Make sure when you're out here, you have meaning. You find a purpose and you work towards that meeting. Coming out here just being drunk with your teacher friends is not meeting. That's getting drunk with your teacher friends. So if you have your meeting connected to them, you're going to lose that contact. My WhatsApp has over 500 phone numbers in it of expats I've met out here over the decade. And I don't talk to almost any of them no more. We all moved on. They all went home and lived their life in the UK or Australia or America. And I'm still here in Asia living the life I want to live. And just a little bit of a reflection and warning. Really look at your health. Look at how you're eating, you're drinking, and the life you're living. Really reflect on what you're doing. This was one of the things that I would say in my life, and I don't typically say stuff like this, but if I could go back in my time and change something about my life, I would have changed the drinking. I would have stopped this 25 years ago. I would have even brought it to Asia. I would have just gotten rid of it a long time ago. Health is one of the most important things that I don't think people, until they hit like their 28 years of age, really understand. I meet a lot of 18-year-olds, even myself. I'm gonna drink all day, eat shit, food, chips, and be fine. I don't gain a pound. I get it. But once you get older, that stuff comes back, and it comes back hard. For me, I've been lucky, but I've met a lot of people that are starting to battle with such things like diabetes, heart issues, weight problems, all kinds of mental and physical problems. So take your health serious when you're abroad. And most importantly, live with intent. When you come out here, have a plan and have a mission when you're out here. Don't just come out here drinking, teaching, flinging around with random bar girls thinking that's life. It's not life. When you go home, you're going to have to be accountable for the life that you lived over here, and it's going to follow you. What happens in Vegas doesn't always stay in Vegas, especially when it comes up to here. So make sure your life is with intent and do well. Follow your plans, focus on it, make sure your money's on point, keep good contact with your family, start building on relationships for the future, and build yourself up to be a better person for that future family. Never compare yourself to other people. You're not going to be Elon Musk. You're not going to be Tony Robbins or any of these other people. You're going to be who you are. So definitely use them as models to find where you want to go. Use some of their motivation, some of their hacks, their tips that they use to become better people, of course. But never put yourself on a pedestal next to these people. I used to work 19 to 21 hours a day because Elon Musk did it with his 7 companies. If he can do 7 companies, why can't I do one? It was always the mindset. And at the end of the day, I realized this dude has thousands of employees and unlimited funds. I don't. So make sure you're not comparing yourself to all these other people. You are who you are, and their motivation can definitely help you. But don't put yourself on that equal playing field because you are not the same as them, just like they're not the same as you. And make sure you're constantly evolving. There's this old phrase I learned in the military long time ago, which is pretty much if every day you improve 1%, at the end of the year you improve like 300% or something like that. Compound interest, right? Every day, make a difference. Every day, do something a little more. Every day, do an extra 5 push-ups. Every day, work an extra 5 minutes and finish something that you typically wouldn't. Whatever it takes, just put a little effort into it. It really does go a long way. And once you start breaking those barriers become your normal. You never go back to that useless side that you used to have, that laziness you used to have. And most of all, write goals and seek purpose and find family. And don't forget, at the end of the day, all we really have are our closest friends and family.
We're catching fish at the beach.
It's white.
You're so racist.
Again?